No doubt. And speaking of Rangers, John Bennett has resigned due to health reasons at Rangers. Who's up next?
Right. Well, I've been looking at this one. John Bennett, I can imagine it's taken a huge toll on his health. And I heard yesterday an interview with Dave King, who was previously the chairman at Rangers, saying he wants to come back. He is the major shareholder with 15%. That's going to be a real battle. And I'm afraid, as often in Scottish history, when the Scots fight amongst themselves, I think we're going to see a massive infighting within the Rangers boardroom as to who's going to come out victorious. It's not going to be pleasant. I keep hoping that Rangers, in some way, will find a benefactor that will take control and shake up all the people in there and say, look, just calm down, forget the history, let's go forward as a proper football club and build things on basic football principles. But again, I think I'm blowing in the wind with that one. So look, who's going to be next? Dave King's put his hat in the ring. He wants to come back and be chairman again. But I'm thinking it should be an investor of some type who comes in, sees the opportunity, and go on from there.
And so you don't feel that Dave King would be a good option returning to the club?
I think there's history with Dave King that a lot of the present board would not accept. He was very brutal about the present board yesterday in his interview. So he's already burning bridges before he's even tried to build a bridge. So look, I think there's a lot of the fan base would still like him back because he did try very hard when he was there. But I think a fresh start for everybody concerned would be the right way forward. And I'm hoping that there would be, I know there's a Far East investor that could be looking at it right now. And he's already got links to the club. And if they can help bring in another investor, as I say, with a fresh start and with a fresh board and a fresh executive team, that's what the club needs to really rebuild properly.
And could this potentially, in the long term, with a new investor, have kind of a positive effect for the club to try and get some refreshments in there?
Yeah, I think it would have to be. I mean, there's too much with the Rangers and Celtic rivalry that depends on those games. And so you've got to look at the club outside of the old firm rivalry. You've got to look at it as a rebuild project and try and bring in best practice and not focus on those games that happen, during the season. You've got to really look at this in a much bigger picture, and it needs some experts to do that. And I hope that they get that done. Otherwise, I just see the club spiralling further and further down.
And no doubt that there's been some rumors of Philippe Clement being kind of in the hot seat. Does this change that at all? Does this give him a longer leash, a shorter leash?
I hope it gives them a longer leash because the one thing they don't need, apart from boardroom turmoil, is on the pitch turmoil.
Correct.
Although often, as I say, these clubs spiral into chaos, and that's what often happens is that the boardroom chaos leads to on the pitch chaos. They've got to get a handle on this, and they've got to stop this infighting, and they've got to try and do it. But listen, there's history of this happening before. There's a precedent for it, so I'm not hopeful that common sense is going to prevail. I'm afraid we could be seeing Rangers in a real spiral.